Hello, everyone. This podcast was recorded on January 31st, 2022. Before we get started, you'll notice that the podcast sort of begins after the intro a bit. This is because somebody, meaning me, set up the mics wrong when we were setting up and checking everything. So my audio was basically unlistenable for the beginning. So I just cut myself out, and then eventually we fixed the problem a couple minutes in. So what you're going to hear is Richard and then Connor, then we can get into the news. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoy.
Playing, of course, more Genshin. There's actually a Lantern Rite festival. It's Chinese New Year, so all the games are doing their events. Overwatch is doing their event, and Genshin's doing an event. Everybody's doing events. Steam has their sale. Everything's going on. But I finished the main quest line for that, which was very rewarding at the end. I really enjoyed it. But beyond that, I started to play. I can't use my words. Zenith. Zenith. It is I forgot what the sub name is, but it's a VR MMO that just came out. And it is one of the top sellers on Steam right now. It's been beating out a lot of other games at the moment. But it is the first, I don't even know how to so it is just straight up a VR MMO.
Zenith, the Last City.
Yeah, the Last City, right.
Okay.
And it's really neat. These guys have been working on it for several years. It's in early access, but it's kind of like pseudo released. I liked the aesthetic, and then people started talking about it a lot more. So I had a Quest 2 discount code. So I used that, picked it up, and it's also cross-buy with the PC. So.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So if I wanted the PC version, they give it to the Oculus version, gives it to me. So.
Wait, how does that work? Do you have to connect your Oculus and Steam accounts or something?
No. It's you have the Oculus. So.
Oh, the Oculus browser on the.
Yeah. So if you buy the Quest 2 version, you will get the Oculus version on your PC.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So they do that with a bunch of games, but yeah, I played a couple of hours. I got to level 5 for my character. I chose a support mage, and so I noticed that when I started up, my weapons are they're guns. They're basically pistols, cool. But they're kind of hand pistols. So my character holds out their fingers like that, but you can
finger guns.
Yeah, basically. But you can see the device attached to you that performs it. Cool. So you'll shoot them, or you can charge it to let go of a blast. And then I started to get abilities, and I think that the way that they've kind of handled it so far is pretty intuitive, at least for my character. So one of my main abilities is a damage dealing ability, and it causes a shard of ice to appear in the air and then slam down on enemies. And what I have to do in order to do that is hold out my hand and press the second trigger button and move my hand down like that, and it activates my spell. And then I tell it where to go, and then I let it go.
How accurately does it read your hand?
Fairly accurately. Well, I'm using the controllers as well, so it notices I push down, which is great. And then I have another ability to where if I hold the button, I have a teleport arc. Okay. So it's where do you want to teleport? And that's what it does is when I teleport to my position, when I land, I send out an AoE healing rift.
Oh, cool.
So if I run a dungeon with somebody eventually, I can do that. And then I think I had another move. Oh, if I just hold the regular trigger, I pull out a water orb, and I can toss it at an enemy. It's like a grenade.
Oh, neat.
So eventually I know that there's an ability that if I hold the button and goes sideways, it'll activate something else, but I haven't got it yet.
Do you literally toss this water ball?
Yeah.
You actually can.
I have to throw it. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's, the aesthetic is funny because it's not quite there. When I was watching other characters run around, the animation isn't fully there, so their hands were just straight to their sides, and they're just running, and I'm okay. And the enemies seem okay so far. I'm very I'm impressed by it. I'm very impressed by it, and I'm having some fun. But I'm more interested in how the game will evolve from here on out. Like I said, I've only played a couple hours, so I can't speak upon truly how good the game is. Mm-hmm. But I like what I'm doing so far. I got to cook in the game, and you actually have to freaking cook. You pull out a station, and it's actually like a chef table, and you have to grab a fusion core of some sort, and then put it in to start your cook, and then it's like, oh, you want to make one of the very first things they have you make is an orange smoothie. So it's like, okay, well, you got to put the milk in the pot and then put it to hot, and you do that, and it'll cook itself. When you pull it out, it looks burnt, but that's the way it's supposed to be, which is weird. Oh, okay. So you'll put it in your blender or whatever, and then you got to take an orange from your inventory. Your inventory's right there. You take your orange, you put it on, and you have to chop the orange. Like, you actually have to grab a knife that's right there and like chop the orange, and you actually cook what you're supposed to do. And so throw it in there, make the orange smoothie, and it's like it's the simple actions in there like fulfill something in your head, and so that brings some really nice stuff. I've already had people say hi to me, like, yeah, hey. A couple kids running around. It's like, yeah, sure. Well, you have to activate quests. You don't have to, but you activate quests by waving at the NPCs. Oh, okay. You'll just wave at them, and then it'll show the quest like speech bubble lift up, and then they'll talk to you. But yeah, I'm just in the very first area, and let's see here, the left analog. When you press the A button, you look at your wrist, and it shows you your map, and if there's like treasures nearby or where your quest direction is. Yeah. And then of course, and then you can climb anything, just like Population 1, just like.
So is it just you grab the wall?
Yeah, just grab the wall, just start climbing. Okay. And then when you jump off somewhere, you have kind of like a high jump, but when you jump off somewhere, if you hold your arms out like Population 1, you'll start gliding where you want to go.
And you don't have to worry about.
There's a stand. There's
PvPers beneath you just lighting you up.
No. If there's a PvP, God damn it. Sorry, I thought of a joke. I'll tell you in a second. If there is a PvP mode, I haven't unlocked it yet or anything, but I have seen people running around here and there. I was playing on the Quest 2 earlier, so it looked good. It looked good enough. I wasn't expecting. I'm playing on the Quest 2. I'm not expecting like gorgeous graphics or anything, but there are definitely like I can't see anything like until I get close to it. So like I mean, obviously there's mountains there, there's buildings there, but like if there's a character, I can't see them. If in the distance they'll show up like halfway to where it's like, oh, okay. So that's why I downloaded the PC version, so I'll see if that looks better or whatnot. They are ready. The developers came out with a statement today that was just kind of thank you so much for your support. And that's where they said that they've been outselling. They've outsold at the moment. Like, you know what? I'm not going to say it because I think I'm going to get it wrong. Because I think they were saying that they were outselling, particularly they're outsold like God of War at the moment. No.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of copies.
Yeah, no, that would be a lot of copies. I just think in the charts.
Oh, okay.
They're doing better on the charts than on. But they're they're gonna have a roadmap tomorrow, like a pseudo roadmap tomorrow to like handle.
It looked like it was self-published, right?
Yeah, it was kickstarted, I think, and these guys have been working on it for a while.
Dude, that's the thing about the VR market is so many like. It's sad because I want bigger publishers to do more, and so many of the best games have been like Boneworks by a small developer. Boneworks, it just blows your mind. Yeah. Onward, which I haven't played in a while, but Onward was Downpour Interactive. Lies Beneath was Drifter. Yes. So it's like these aren't. They may have partnerships with Oculus. I don't know, but it's not like they're being published by Ubisoft and Electronic Arts.
Right.
And I wish they were. Well, that sounds really awesome.
It's fun so far. I know I've shown a couple friends the trailer, and I think one of my friends said he may grab it soon. But it's really cool. It's really cool.
Okay. So real quick, in an official AMA for Zenith, there isn't PvP, but it's going to be added in the future.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that.
Yep. Do you have anything else?
No, that was it. That's all I've been playing.
What up, Connor?
I have been playing a lot of Hard Space Shipbreaker recently.
He's been playing the survival game. I'm kidding, Connor. I'm sorry.
Well, no, it's surviving capitalism in that game.
Aren't we all?
Yep. I haven't been at work because I've been sick, so I might as well, work pretend.
He's so addicted to it.
Because that's all I do these days is work and work. It's actually a really fun game. If you don't know the premise, it's you're a shipbreaker. You take in ships that get pulled into dock that are being decommissioned, and you break them down into pieces and send them into recycling, into a processing center, or into just a forge that just melts down the pieces. And as you progress through, you get stronger tools. You have like a laser cutter, like a grappling gun, like the gravity gun from Half-Life kind of type thing, and demolition charges, which are terrible. Never use them if you play the game. But yeah, there's each ship that has their own specific layout. There's hazards involved, like each ship has a nuclear reactor on board that you have to take care of. There's fuel lines that you have to cut around and not cut so they don't ignite. Find the fuel pumps to like purge the lines so you can cut the fuel lines. There's coolant.
Talk dirty to me more.
There's coolant lines that you have to like take out the coolant tank so that you don't accidentally cut the coolant line and then freeze everything around it, destroying all the precious loot that you're trying to sell off to the company to sell off or to pay off your debt to them.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a really fun game. I'd highly recommend it. I found it. So it's based in space, so 0G, you're flying around. And I found just by dicking around in the game, a really good mode of transportation is your gravity gun. If you like lock onto something, you can right click and it'll pull it towards you.
Cool.
But if the thing is above a certain weight threshold, you'll fly towards it. So there's like anchor points across the map, so you can like tether parts of the ship so that it doesn't move off. Well, if you select those anchor points and right click, you'll fly towards it. You can just zoom around the map and get to different points. You have limited oxygen supply, so you have to go refuel at an oxygen station, which you have to pay for. So, you can go to like you're almost, out of oxygen and then just zoom over there, fuel up real quick, zoom back, and not spend too much time just slowly drifting through space.
Oh, okay. Does it remind you anything of, does it remind you much of like Space Engineers?
A little bit. Not so much the construction part, but definitely destroying things, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, that was always one of the best things in Space Engineers, so.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else?
Not really. I played a little bit of Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord and getting back into that, but I mean, nothing to report on that.
Okay. Connor, hit the ad. Oh, wait, I have to.
We want to give a massive shout out to the sponsors of this episode. They have been silently supporting us since the very beginning, and we felt it was time to give them some love. The like and share buttons have been at our side since episode 1 of the podcast. They can be found just beneath this episode. Please give them a click, it helps us greatly. If you're feeling lucky, click the bell icon to enter for a notification anytime we post new content. You may be surprised by what you get.
Studio acquisitions are becoming crazy now.
Yay.
As Sony today has bought Bungie Studios.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Sounds like you made it up.
Sony
I know, right? Bought Bungie.
No, I was playing Zenith, and I was like, okay, I'm done. I took my headset off and I looked out, and my friend sent me I didn't even find out. My friend sent me, and it was like, oh, shit, really? And I had to go to Twitter. I had to go look, and I was like, oh, of course. Anyways, it was announced in a blog post, which everything is getting announced in blog posts. I hate it. The deal is worth $3.6 billion. Sony says that Bungie will remain an independent and multi-platform developer, which sounds good. But
Sure.
that remains to be seen. Jim Ryan, CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, told GamesIndustry.biz, quote, Bungie will operate autonomously within the Sony Interactive Entertainment. Wait, what? within Sony Interactive Entertainment. We get the importance of this. We understand how important it is to give these great organizations the space and independence while bolstering that with great support when and where it is needed. Remember, besides Destiny 2, Bungie is also working on a new IP. We don't know much about that, but this is big news.
Yeah, so that quote that Richard did not mess up on, I went ahead and messed up on typing out the quote. So that's the second week in a row where I
rolled back and then I
handled it professionally. You handled it professionally.
No, I didn't, because I went, wait a minute.
That's the second week. That's the second week in a row where I threw you under the. Well, I didn't throw you under the bus, but I threw a bus at you. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, okay. So the quick disclaimer: corporate consolidation is never a good thing, but it's been happening a lot. So, one company buys other companies, that's bad.
Right.
Couple companies buy a bunch of companies, maybe getting a little bit scarier.
Yes.
Because you never, I don't know, you don't want 2 or 3 companies owning everything. Like, yes. I don't know, I feel like that's sort of self-explanatory. Depending on how independent Bungie remains, I find that really interesting because, if you were to ask me, hey, does Sony take a hands-off approach? I would think the answer is no. At least not like relative to Microsoft but maybe I'm wrong on that.
When was the last time they've been hands-on?
Well, I don't know, but that's why maybe I'm wrong on this, but like think about Days Gone. It feels like with Days Gone, it was all... They were constant, like the whole story with Days Gone is like they're constantly dealing with management.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And I remember when we watched Raising Kratos, and maybe this is something that happens all the time with Microsoft. I don't know. Maybe Phil Spencer walks in on 343 when they're making Halo Infinite. I have no idea. But I forget who it was. A high-up Sony executive walked in, like...
Yeah.
And I think it was like an announced, hey, we're going to come visit the studio. And it was like it was like this portion of the documentary. So maybe my perception is incorrect, but I feel like that's not how it's been portrayed in some ways, or that's not how Sony operates. But I could be wrong. However, the Bungie acquisition makes sense because Sony doesn't have a game like this, right?
Right.
That they are publishing.
Right.
Or, and they used to have the deal with, Destiny was always at the PlayStation E3s back in the day and stuff like that.
They had exclusivity for at least some amount of time.
Yeah, so now this is on, under their umbrella. How do things change? I don't know. But that it's a deal that makes sense to me. So those are really the only 2 things that I wonder about. We also know that this has been in the works for a couple months, is what they've said. This isn't like suddenly they, Jim Ryan in the past week was like, oh, God, we got to find somebody to buy.
Right. But unfortunately, the general public will think that.
Sure. So this isn't like a sudden thing.
Right.
Which is also interesting. I do have... I'll say it now because we're going to talk about Ubisoft a lot. I think that if there was the next company to get purchased, doesn't it? It feels like it would be Ubisoft.
Yeah. If there was, this is dangerous, like, prediction territory. But it's
and I could be dead wrong. I mean,
the next 2 are EA or Activision.
Do you or EA or Ubisoft? You mean?
Or sorry, yes, EA or Ubisoft.
Do you not think that EA is big enough not to be purchased?
No, I do.
So
sorry.
Hold on, I worded that wrong.
Okay.
In my mind, EA is big enough that
they can stand on their own. They'll be fine.
Because even though, but I don't know. Activision has Call of Duty, but EA has FIFA.
I mean, but we thought about that with Activision, didn't we?
We did, and that's what I'm saying. It's so maybe, but could Microsoft really make another deal like that? Probably not.
No, absolutely
Would
not.
Sony buy Electronic Arts?
No, they don't have the money for it.
Like, I don't think there's anybody out there that would purchase Electronic Arts. But Ubisoft, I don't know what they're valued at, but I imagine they're not valued at the same thing as like EA would be valued at.
Right.
They've had all kinds of internal problems. Their courts thing is a joke, which we'll talk about in a second. They've tried to get their own service up and going, but I don't. Does Uplay Plus or whatever it's called? Is that still a thing? I don't know.
Well, they're joining Microsoft.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ubisoft Plus or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
Uplay
EA
Plus.
plays on there too,
That's joining
Okay.
Game Pass
But anyway,
eventually. So
it's just a random thing. I thought if there were one more company to get bought up in this huge buying spree, I think it would be
Ubisoft is at the top of the list. There's also other people talking about like Take-Two. Like Take-Two would be one.
Not to be confused with It Takes Two, the video game.
Right. Yes,
Sure.
of course not.
Sure.
I almost made that mistake myself.
Sure. Especially because Vivendi almost bought or did the hostile
Vivendi,
takeover thing of
yeah.
Ubisoft not too long ago.
So yeah, but those are. I mean, other people are throwing around names like Konami and Capcom, but I highly doubt that they would even be not only in the market, but it's just that's another company from another country that is very protective of their brand. So I don't think that would be the instance. But yeah, they definitely did this only because Sony just doesn't have a first-person shooter, like a standout first-person shooter, besides Killzone or Resistance, which both of those games have been done for years.
Yeah, the Resistance didn't make it. Who made Resistance?
Insomniac.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so Resistance there hasn't been any Resistance games since PS3, right?
Right.
Or at least on the main consoles. I don't know if there was one for like the.
There's Vita.
Yeah, Vita doesn't count. I'm just kidding.
It doesn't.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, and then the last Killzone was Shadowfall.
Yeah.
Which was one of the best looking games I've ever played.
Yeah.
It was also one of the most forgettable games I've ever played.
It was a game.
Yes, it was. So yeah, they really don't have that.
Now they have a cash cow in Destiny. And then you think about if they wanted to get more people into Destiny, they'd probably offer, bonuses for PlayStation Plus and maybe some expansions for free or something. I don't know, do the Game Pass thing. But this is an interesting development and not one I really would have this doesn't actually excite me. No offense to Bungie, but I think Bungie would have been perfectly fine just doing their own thing. Because they have been for the last several years, ever since breaking off from Activision Blizzard. But yeah, this news was kind of whoa, really? But I'm also sitting here kind of what do I don't expect anything from this because Destiny is what Bungie does.
Yeah. So. And I think that's the thing that makes this deal because if I don't know, when Sony sat down and said, hey, let's go shopping, who do we want to buy? They're like, what else besides, hey, we don't have a cash cow FPS, so let's get Bungie or let's get Destiny.
Yeah.
But when you think about the Activision deal or the Bethesda deal, those had so many different layers to them, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, what is Bethesda? What happens to all these IPs? What happens with Activision? What happens with Blizzard? How does that dynamic change? How does Game Pass work now? I mean, so many different things like that. But this just feels like, okay, they bought them, but feels like Bungie was doing fine. Yeah. So, and you would want to do hands off because it would be dumb to go, hey, you're running the ship great.
Yeah.
Here's how you're going to run it now.
Yeah. But that's no indication that they were doing bad in the first place either. Just because they got bought doesn't mean they were doing bad in the first place. But it is interesting because you hear about Microsoft buying Bethesda and it's like, wow, they didn't just get Bethesda. They got Tango Softworks. They got, I forgot what other studios they have. They had a bunch of studios.
Did they get id Software?
id Software, yeah. They got a couple of those. And then it's Activision Blizzard. It's okay, you got Raven Software. You got High Moon Studios. You got Beanox. You got, all these other ones. So you bought Bungie, you just got Bungie.
Yeah.
Which is fine because if they really want to, actually, they could probably have Bungie crank out a Resistance or a new Killzone.
That would be cool.
That would be cool.
That'd be interesting. And whatever Bungie's new IP is, that's gonna be fun too. Because that'll be a big PlayStation thing.
It will.
And who knows? And that game doesn't have any. I mean, as far as we know, that game doesn't have any.
It wasn't announced yet, so there's no consoles for it.
There's no exclusivity.
Yeah. No deals.
Right? Because so if maybe that's part of the deal. Maybe Sony walks in and it's like, hey, we're gonna buy you. But let's talk about that unannounced game.
Yeah.
And
sure.
Where it's gonna launch first. So I don't. Yeah, maybe that's part of it. Okay, are we ready to talk about Ubisoft? A Watchdog has ended its investigation of Ubisoft Singapore. The Tripart Alliance for Fair and Progressive Employment Practices began its investigation into Ubisoft Singapore after Kotaku's story back in July that included allegations of racial pay disparity, sexual harassment, and ineffective, maybe even neglectful, depending on if we want to connect the dots with the rest of HR departments, their HR department, but the rest of HR departments around what seemed like everywhere in Ubisoft. In a press release, the TAFEP said that it would not be taking action against Ubisoft, and that they found in their investigation, they found that, quote, Ubisoft has a pay structure that pays its employees fairly and not discriminatory, and that the company handled its toxic workplace results appropriately. Some background: in November 2020, I wrote this down phonetically to help me out. I believe it's Hugh Rickor.
Okay.
Hugh Rickor was removed as managing director of Ubisoft Singapore following a Gamma Sutra report in which multiple sources accused Rickor of sexual harassment. At the time, Rickor was removed but not fired from the company completely. As far as I can tell, he's still at whatever position he was moved to at Ubisoft. I went to his LinkedIn page and stuff. I couldn't find if he was still working at Ubisoft. To be sure of or not. I don't have a bunch to say. I do think it's interesting that this Watchdog was like, yes, after the complaints about workplace harassment, Ubisoft cleaned up their workplace harassment. You know? It's like, okay, I'm glad we have that converted. I'm glad we have. Well, I mean, I'm sure they did their job. As far as I can tell, it's a reputable Watchdog. But I mean, I just thought it was funny. Because if you're Ubisoft, I wouldn't be tooting my horn about this, because it's like, yeah, we cleaned house after all those pictures of our dirty house were posted to the internet. You know, it's like, all right, well, great. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about. I mostly just want to trash Ubisoft because they're a horrible company for multiple reasons.
Who doesn't?
So this is part one.
You do not waste a single second when it comes time to.
Okay. I guess we're good then.
Yeah.
Now to the fun part. Oh, wait. No. I have my stories mixed up here. I did a horrible job with the notes today.
No, that's okay. So we're going to move on to the next Ubisoft thing.
Yeah, this is inside baseball.
There we go.
Move around the leaf like in A Bug's Life. Ubisoft VP says players, quote, don't get, end quote, NFTs.
I don't get it.
In an interview with Finder, which is a site we'll talk about here in a little bit, Nicolas Poard, VP of Ubisoft Strategic Innovations Lab, and Didier Genevois, Ubisoft Blockchain Technical Director, were asked, what do you think is the big positive that gamers are missing about what NFTs like Digits can offer them? I believe this was Poard that said this in response, but can we look this up? Can we click on the link? Because I want to make sure that it was
Jamie,
him.
can you look that up?
Jamie, bring this up. That's a horrible reference.
Sorry.
Just a terrible...
filthy human piece
vaccines
of
work.
garbage.
Quote, I think gamers don't get what a digital secondary market can bring to them. For now, because of the current situation and context of NFTs, gamers really believe it's first, destroying the planet, and second, just a tool for speculation. But what we at Ubisoft are seeing first is the end game. The end game is about giving players the opportunity to resell their items once they're finished with them, or they're finished playing the game itself. So it's really for them. Also, this is part of a paradigm shift in gaming. Moving from one economic system to another is not easy to handle. There are a lot of habits you need to go against and a lot of your ingrained mindset you have to shift. It takes time. We know that, end quote. Finder is an Australian website where you can compare prices on like credit cards and home loans. It's kind of a weird, I don't know, maybe there's nothing weird about it. Maybe the world's filled with these websites and I just don't know it, but it's kind of a strange thing. But it also has a cryptocurrency market tracking the price of like
Ethereum and
Bitcoin and Dogecoin and all kinds of stuff on their homepage. So,
wonderful.
You know, it doesn't necessarily mean they're asking you to invest,
right?
But they're certainly providing the tools and the needed knowledge for you to invest. Okay, so you guys can talk first if you want.
It was in fact Poard.
Okay, thank you. That's who I thought it was, because we we made fun of DDA before, who said something else in a different interview with a different website that talks about cryptocurrency. There's a lot of things about this that frustrate me. I don't want to monopolize the conversation.
Yeah, no, the biggest issue that I have with like the main reason that they're doing this is that this has already existed for way too long, particularly the reselling your items when you're finished with them or when you're playing the game. It's existed for a very, very long time, since the mid 2000s. Once again, I used the example of Counter-Strike and
Team Fortress 2.
Team Fortress 2, yeah, and it's something that people happily do. Steam itself uses it for their trading cards and their emoticons and their stickers and stuff like that. So they've just kind of created this problem out of thin air and gave a pseudo solution for it. And now the bottom line is it's just for money.
Yes.
Like that is it. It is solely for money, and that is all.
Yeah, sure. So I think sometimes I wonder, like, how many things can you buy with cryptocurrency? Now, somebody who's super into cryptocurrency, they'll be like, well, it's like somebody who, when I say, Last of Us is only on the PlayStation, and then you'll hear someone on the PC say, except you can get it on the PC. It's like, yeah, but you gotta mod it, you gotta pirate it. That's not a practical thing. So how many things can you buy with like a lot of cryptocurrency? And so there are people that really believe in cryptocurrency, and they're gonna say you can do anything with cryptocurrency. But it's like, okay, but you really, like, the everyday person who doesn't have 6 3060 GTI NVIDIA graphics cards with 6 different PCs. They're
running 24/7.
Yeah, they can't just wake up and use cryptocurrency. So it's this weird thing that exists, I think, in a large part purely as speculation. And it's hilarious that Poird says it's not just a tool for speculation, and then 10 seconds later says, oh, by the way, you can buy your items and speculate with them,
We hope.
So, give me a better example. This is not, I always try, and because there are people that really believe in like decentralization as a way to get away from banks and stuff and whatever. And there are some people who I think honestly believe that. There are some people who that's an excuse to get away with shady crypto things and shady NFT things.
Murder.
So, but I this is not any of that, right? This is just, there's a new way to make money. So how do we jam this into a video game? And these guys are dumbfounded, I think, partially because I think the world of cryptocurrency and NFTs, maybe like a lot of other places, is really insular. Does that make sense? So if you're on Twitter all day and all you know are other people that are in NFT discords with you or whatever, and all you're talking is NFTs and cryptocurrency, you have no idea that there's a whole world that just doesn't give a shit about this stuff.
Right.
And you think it's the future, and you think that the world's going to be ran this way in 2 years or whatever. But I don't think that's going to be the case, one. And two, it's not like it's a widely held opinion.
Yeah.
So, when you try to shove this stuff into games, and then you're dumbfounded as to why people don't want it, I think that exposes a huge lack of self-awareness and a huge lack of not understanding your market.
Yes.
Which is horrible for two people that are apparently executives in a AAA game company. And that's insanely infuriating. Because goddamn it, Ubisoft, it's not that difficult. Release a fucking Splinter Cell game. I did half the job, and I know you're remaking the first one, but it's just like, it's that simple.
Yeah.
I have another idea. Just release a Ghost Recon game that's not like a microtransaction hellscape. There you go.
Make Assassin's Creed smaller.
That's a free tip. Make Assassin's Creed smaller. Free tip number 2. Far Cry, I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe Far Cry's fine.
Give it a couple years off.
Yeah, there. Tip number 4, whatever. There you go. We just fixed Ubisoft. You're welcome, Eves. But all this cryptocurrency stuff, it's just like, nobody wants it, but it makes so much money that you're willing to try and shove it into people's faces.
Yeah.
With a slim amount of hope that it catches on. And and I glazed through the interview. The interview was just like, I don't understand. It's like someone who's just like, I don't understand. I put pesticides in my food. I put pesticides. It's great. I don't see what the problem is. It's like hearing someone talk about something so nonchalantly that it just drives you insane. Because people talk about like pay to earn games. Mm-hmm. That's just work. Like that's all that is, And this is what the CEO of what was it, Square Enix, when he talked about
the New Year's.
There's a huge people that want to do pay to win. No, everybody. No. That's the point of video games. That's like saying the market for pay to watch in movies is great, but what about the pay to earn to watch market? It's like that doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. But you can try and will it into existing. Yeah. By like
I said, it's a fake problem that you've created some sort of solution to that.
So when you bring up like pay to earn stuff, it's not. You're trying to manufacture a market based on speculation that you can then exploit, and that's just it's infuriating. And it's infuriating if you were doing it and didn't really know what you were doing. It's another level of infuriating when you talk about it as if the solutions are so simple and if it doesn't come with a bajillion problems, and sounding like you know nothing about the game economy for the past 10 years, right? Mm-hmm. Or what a good game is, So, or what players want. It's another thing. It comes down to that definition of want, what's the CEO? Strauss-Zelnick. Strauss-Zelnick will tell what people want is whatever people spend money on, right? And that's the end of humanity. That's it. That is your entire human existence boils down to what you'll spend money on. That is what you want. But there are other definitions of want out there. Like people want to experience new stories, games, gameplay, whatever. But that's not a definition of want people like these two guys understand, because it's not a definition that you can continuously monetize. And it's not like they're doing this for, when they talk about like it's for the players. No, it's not.
No, it's for
because
money.
you're not going to be handing over money to players and taking tiny cuts of it.
Yeah.
You're doing it because Ubisoft would be getting a large portion of whatever kind of transactions are made.
It's like the Roblox thing.
Yes, so stop acting like it's this new revolutionary way to make money in video games, because it's not. It's a new way for you to make money.
Yeah.
It's
infuriating.
I'm sorry.
Because it's useless. The whole thing is useless, and we've been shouting this ever since the introduction of
and it's terrifying.
NFTs.
Because we all laughed at horse armor.
Yes.
And here we are.
Yep.
And so we're all laughing at stupid pictures of stupid apes and Jimmy Fallon and Paris Hilton talking about their stupid ape pictures, and Jimmy Fallon with a straight face saying, "It reminds me of me because I once wore glasses with stars." I don't know if you guys saw this.
I didn't want to.
It's excruciating.
I purposefully did not watch it.
Everything after like post SNL Jimmy Fallon, I just need to forget. Like it's just a blank slate.
Yeah.
Just
forget about it.
Yes. But anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about. We had one more story. We're ready to go.
So,
sorry, Connor. Go ahead.
You know who I feel doesn't get NFTs? People who are really into NFTs.
Yeah,
I think that's part of it. Sure.
Once people start buying into it, it really feels like they're wearing, 1, horse blinders, and 2, rose-tinted glasses, which is a dangerous combo. Because you can't see any red flags and you can only see one direction, and it's further down the rabbit hole of NFTs and cryptocurrency. And like Richard said, this has existed in video games already. The reason there's an issue behind it is because they labeled it NFTs. They said it was an NFT.
Well, so
if they would have named it anything else, the market on Team Fortress 2 with fucking hats, is ridiculous. And it's been around since a few years after Team Fortress 2 launched, and it's thriving. it's still going on.
It is.
And it's NFTs. It's just they don't call it that. They call it what the item is. It's a hat. So if they would have just labeled it something else, this would have just gone on. There would have been no commotion about it. But because they threw the NFT label on it, they drew attention to it. And they made a beacon that they were taking, the NFT route. This is the future, that sort of route. And they're making, like you guys said, they're making their own issues.
It's interesting that you say that, because they bring that up in the interview. They say, what if we just didn't call it NFTs? What if we called it something else?
Yeah,
Then
right.
no one
Eves
would have
tokens,
noticed.
right?
Yeah.
I'm a victim to tokens. And but they think people would have eventually figured it out. Because I think, I don't know how the technology behind the hats work on Team Fortress 2.
I'm not aware
because
either.
the one distinction, because I think you guys are correct in the analogy of it, right? Like an item that is processed between certain people, whatever. But the difference between that and like NFTs is there is a technology underneath NFTs that makes them functionally like a real. They're not a physical thing, but they're like a real digital thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is a technology there, but the debate is whether or not the technology does anything useful or can really provide anything beneficial to humanity.
Right.
And those questions, to put it nicely, are up for debate.
Yes.
At the moment. So anyway,
they really are.
But it's interesting that you say that, because in the interview they talked about what if we didn't name it this, and it seemed like for a second they were thinking maybe we should just lie.
Yeah.
They
could have got away scot-free.
Well, yeah, and they think that people would have caught on. I think so too.
But I think at the point that people would have caught on,
if you're deciding what it is, with how everyone with how in the public consciousness right now an NFT is, I think as soon as they started talking about the technology of what it is, people would have just started calling them NFTs. But we can agree to disagree, whatever. Connor, you were going to say?
I was about to say that I feel like if they would have not brought as much attention to it and not called it NFTs, if they would have just rolled it out like it was another normal product by the time people figured out it was just NFTs, it would have already made them tons of money.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Okay, we'll move on. A quick update on Activision, Blizzard, and Raven Software's unionization. So Activision ended up not responding to Raven's, I'm not sure how to phrase it. They requested that Activision, I guess, voluntarily acknowledge their union.
Yeah.
So some background, as I said, QA testers at Raven Software decided to form a union, Games Workers Alliance. That was after striking following 12 workers being let go in late 2020. Or late 2021. Wait, what year is it? 2020?
2022.
Yeah, there we go. So that happened late 2021. Sorry. Past 3 years have all been 1 year.
It has been.
They gave Activision until 6 p.m. Eastern, January 25th, to recognize their union. If that did not happen, they would file for a union election with the National Labor Relations Board, and that ended up happening. Activision didn't respond. I haven't seen an update on it, but I'm assuming, because they had a supermajority, so it didn't seem like, as far as votes went,
it passed,
anything was in
right?
trouble.
Yeah.
However, last Monday, 23 Raven Software QA testers were called into a meeting to discuss an update to QA. Management said they'd be split into other departments across the studio, like art, audio, and design. The meeting did not mention unionization. The Washington Post asked Cornell professor of labor and employment law, Risa Lieberwitz, about the meeting. She said, quote, "The timing of Activision Blizzard's Raven announcement raises the question of whether they are retaliating against the QA employees because of their union activity. The union would have a decent case to make that by doing this on the heels of a request for recognition and on the heels of all this union organization activity, that this was somehow unlawful, intended to kill the union's strength. I would say that having seen these kinds of things many times, that there's possibly more afoot here than meets the eye," end quote. And you know what? As far as we know about Activision, this may have been, Bobby Kotick on cell phone going, "Hey."
Yeah.
Because anyway.
Well, I mean, they are, the time is ticking. Clock is ticking for them. and it's possible that they want to do as much damage as they can before the acquisition with Microsoft fully happens. But that's just me, being conspiracy theorist.
Sure,
Sure.
There's no love lost for Activision, that's for sure.
Yeah, and Activision has proven themselves in the last year and a half, longer than that, because the stories have been going on for longer than that, to be quite evil when it comes to how their business is run. So I wouldn't put it past them that there is something going on here, which is very unfortunate for these workers. Who good on them for trying to get this union going, because it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, and Game Workers Alliance said that it wouldn't affect the way that they operated and stuff like that.
Good.
If this were a squeaky clean company or whatever, I'd say, maybe.
Sure.
But it's Activision, and it seems like every month for the past 12 months or whatever, we've gotten one more story about something stupid going down in Activision.
Something breaks.
So, yeah.
Yep.
And I'll just repeat what I said last week. If you are an executive at Activision and it is such a horrible thing that your employees are unionizing, you had 10 years to fix your company. So you sucked. You didn't get the job done. Mm-hmm. This is the conclusion to that. Right. This is the resolution. So, I don't have any sympathy. I don't have any sorry. This is what happens.
Yeah.
And
that's it.
And that's besides the fact of whether or not you believe in unions, whether or not there should be more unions, whether or not the games industry at large. Just as far as Activision goes, you had plenty of time to fix your stupid company, and you didn't do it. Mm-hmm. And now you're being bought out, your CEO stepping down in disgrace after throwing studios under the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't have any sympathy there. Connor, I think you look like you were going to say something.
No, I was coughing.
Oh, okay. Okay. Are we ready for tidbits?
Yeah, sure.
A man discusses the news, but not like the big news, the little news. Little bit. This is the tidbits.
I had a hell of a time finding some tidbits.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Not an easy tidbit week.
I guess not. I wasn't looking too hard, I guess. But,
what the hell?
Hey, I definitely did, but
I'm just kidding.
Just nothing interesting, nothing that just
sure.
Sure. Anyways, I got two adaptation stories here with Hazelight teaming up with DJ2 Entertainment to adapt It Takes Two into a film and or TV show. That's it. I mean, what else can I add to that?
I need to play it.
Yeah, I need to play it too. It's only $20 right now. But on top of that, American McGee's Alice Madness Returns is also getting a film or TV adaptation. This one is interesting because it is being developed by Radar Pictures. The adaptation will be written, produced, and showrun by David Hayter.
Infinite ammo.
Hey,
there it is. Nice.
That's kind of a cult classic game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so very it takes Alice in Wonderland mythos and very much gothifies it. Is that a good word?
Sure.
Yeah, no. So
kind of...
Alice is actually in a mental hospital.
Okay.
And then she gets taken into Wonderland, and Wonderland is completely twisted. Like the Cheshire Cat is extremely skeleton skinny, and he's very evil looking, and everything's just all fucked up. The first one was on PC only, cult following. And then the second one released on 360 PS3, which I do have it. It is a good game. I watched a Let's Play of it recently at work because we put Let's Plays on. That game is rough. The frame rate is god awful. But it's still charming in a sense. But
sure.
I think having it turn into a film or TV adaptation will be very good for its brand. So yeah, and I'm excited that David Hayter is heading it.
Infinite ammo.
He's here on the show with us.
Yeah, no, he's
Thanks,
right
David.
Next to me.
Infinite ammo.
That's all he's saying.
That's all he says.
That's all we're paying him for.
A Nintendo Music YouTube channel has received more than 1,300 copyright blocks.
I don't know why this makes me laugh so hard. It's just you wake up one morning, I'm going to check out what's going on my YouTube show.
Oh, no. Gilva Sunner has taken to Twitter to announce that his channel channel recently received 1,300 copyright strikes from Nintendo. He had a channel that basically highlighted Nintendo music, had soundtracks including ones from Zelda, Mario Kart, the Mario games, etc., anything Nintendo. So yeah, you got 1,300 copyright strikes taken down. This is very, very infuriating because Nintendo makes it incredibly difficult to listen to their music. Besides a couple of soundtracks on iTunes, you literally cannot find their music on any streaming services. They are not readily available anywhere, and they have some of the best music out there.
Was this guy just reposting soundtracks, or?
Yeah, well, right. There's if you go on YouTube, I mean, you can find any video game soundtrack. Like,
Sure.
It doesn't matter, and anywhere. And now this channel, by the way, had no ads on it or anything, so he wasn't making money off of it. It's just something to listen to. But yeah, of course, the copyright strikes came and took him down.
I don't know.
Video game music's still weird because all of these, like Konami, Capcom, Square Enix, like all of their music is Sega. All of their music is on Spotify, is on iTunes. You can find it anywhere.
Yeah.
And vicariously, I think they also. What I think the idea is, if I were to go on YouTube and Mario theme 1-1 whatever and find it, cool. This is great music. Can I find their music anywhere else? Like that idea of having the door open somewhere that's like kind of walking the tightrope of legality, but opening the door for that person to find the legal way to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is why take that down, if that
Sure.
makes sense. But even then, on the other side, why not even have your music available anywhere is very baffling, because I know for Nintendo, a lot of it is not really about like making money. It's about protecting the brand. But that's something that Nintendo has always done that people hate about them. So
Yeah, the one word that comes to mind when I think about Nintendo is dogmatic. This is what we do,
sure. Mm-hmm.
and that's the end of it. It's like
Daddy did it. It's that dad did it.
dogmatic. Like, it's just, this is what we do. This is how we run things.
Mm-hmm.
Reggie Fils-Aimé used to make a joke here and there. But other than that, and if you go into a Nintendo, board meeting with Reggie Fils-Aimé, he's like the playboy. He's like the cool guy.
Yeah.
He's the renegade.
Yeah.
He's the maverick. He's the guy that's like, oh, dude, Reggie's here.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Everybody, fucking Reggie's here.
Yeah, they don't even say his name on the Game Awards. They just say Reggie.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone just knows him, Anyway, yeah, but that's what this makes me think of. Is like dogmatic.
Yeah.
And they're not the, they're just as ruthless as and mean
Mm-hmm.
as all the other game companies.
Nintendo's not your friend. Anyways,
No.
Last tidbit. Well, it was actually a news story, but we moved it to tidbits because there's not much to elaborate on it. But EA is making 3 new Star Wars games. Last week, EA confirmed that a sequel to Jedi Fallen Order was in development. I think that's quite obvious. As well as 2 other games. Respawn is making an FPS, Republic Commando, and Bitreactor is making a strategy game. Guarantee you it's Republic Commando, dude. Like,
God,
it
that
has
would
to
be incredible.
It has to be.
That would be so. Oh my God.
Like, you cannot. When you think first-person shooter in Star Wars, if you think that, like, your first thought is Stormtrooper or Clone Trooper.
Sure.
In my opinion.
Sure.
Bounty Hunter, close second.
And that's also the safest thing too.
It is.
Because if you have a Star Wars game, where your character punches and a knife comes out of his hand and you hit some Twi'lek in the face and blood's everywhere,
And then
people are going to be like, oh my God, it's Star Wars. But if you punch a battle droid and oil flies out, that's just good, clean fun.
Yes, yeah.
That's a battle droid.
And then your visor wipes it out.
Right? Oh my God, I would...
Telling your squad mates where to go, what to do.
Unspeakable things.
Republic Commando is great.
Yeah. I that was a game that I discovered the demo of, and I played it over and over and over and over and over again when I was a kid. Yeah.
Follow Rex and his crew.
Have you ever played? Have either of you two ever played Republic Commando like through the whole way through? Or
no, I haven't. Actually, I need to buy it because they HD remade it, I think.
Yeah, I think that was one of the games. But that's like a game that a lot of people love, and I want. That's also the game that starts off like a Call of Duty. Like you're in one of the gunships and another clone is there with you, and he gets like shot out or pulled out by a Geonosian warrior or something like that. It's like the opening of Saving Private Ryan, but it's all, I don't know what the guy's name is that plays Boba Fett, but it's just like, when we hit the beach, it's like, I don't know.
Remember, no Russian.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be great.
$3.49.
There you go.
I'll buy it later.
That would be phenomenal. And I would
Timora Morrison.
Timon Morrison, yeah, thank you. That'd be a tactical shooter where you play as Republican. That would just be phenomenal.
Yeah.
That would just be. I also like how it portrayed super battle droids. Like the super battle droid was like really tall.
Oh, the with the big chest. And
it was like, because in the movies it's just another droid that gets killed, but in the video game it was like not a boss, but it was kind of tougher.
He's like the hunters. He's like the hunter
exactly. Yeah, Connie, you gonna say something?
I was gonna say you take I forgot the name of the game now. Hell's Highway.
Brothers in Arms.
Brothers in Arms. Take that, reskin it, make that, but
it's like
Star Wars.
It's like it prints free money.
Yeah.
It just works.
You know what? Hey, do I have that one?
Oh, we don't have that one.
I don't think. Right. No, I think it's on the other. Oh, wait.
It just works.
There we go. Now that's another thing you brought up. Who owns Gearbox?
Me. Oh, what? Oh,
is it Take-Two?
No. Someone just bought Gearbox. Was it?
Did they?
It was an Embracer Group, I think. Gearbox Software. Let's see here. Embracer Group. Yeah, it was Embracer Group.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they bought them.
We were just having that conversation about other companies that could be purchased. I thought Gearbox.
Yeah,
but it seems like they've already been. I don't know. Anyway. Okay. No more tidbits.
I mean, they were purchased 7 years ago. So.
Oh wow! I thought it was more recently. Huh. Well, that's all for the tidbits.
Okay. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook at The Gaming Discourse. Go to our YouTube channel, YouTube/Gaming Discourse. Check out the Gloomhaven video.
Please.
and please make Richard happy. Listen to him saying please, like a good boy.
Oh, okay.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.